of Stamford Bridge campaign where a bunch of different Saxons in succession have to try to take on this monster Norseman who is extremely high capability fighter who is defending a bridge, so they can't gang up on him more than two at a time, and usually only one at a time. And so he's trying to hold them off. This is a famous incident from the Battle of Stamford Bridge. Eventually, they wore him down, but he took down a lot of guys on the way. So anyway, that's what we're recreating. Thomas on the other side of the field, this side with the male knight playmat, is playing the Saxons, and I'm playing the Norsemen. So each of us has a playmat where all of our cards are laid out for how we're going to play. We have these body and fatigue tracks, which is how we keep track of basically our life total. If our red track counts down to 0, then we're incapacitated and out of the fight. The blue is keeping track of our fatigue. As that counts down to 0, we can become tired and do less damage. And before that, before we're tired, we can absorb some damage we take by using blue instead of red. So it's a supplemental life total, so to speak. But all the cards in front of us determine the kind of fighter. These are the things on the top of our playmats. So like I have chainmail armor here, and I'm using a battle axe as a weapon in 2 hands. And I have various things over here. These other blue cards are some of my abilities. I've got lots of other bits of armor, like my gauntlets and mail cloth. I've got a card over here, which is for my my prowess, showing all the benefits I have when I try to do things like attack or defend accurately. Some of those things are also incorporated into my deck. Each of us has a combat action card deck of 25 cards. That's the green stack here in the bottom left of each of our playmats. And that's what we draw our hand from and play our cards from. Each card in the combat action deck is a single action, like an attack, a defend, or a pause. We play those simultaneously, reveal them simultaneously one at a time to see who's attacking, who's defending, and then resolve the attacks with dice. So to start off, we would be drawing our initial hands. I should say a little bit who's fighting. As I mentioned, I'm the large Norseman with the axe. I'm currently facing a Saxon Fjordman. That's a kind of a common levied fighter. He's using a javelin with one hand. That's a small spear and a medium shield. He's in only padded armor and a helmet. So he's not nearly as capable a fighter as this Norseman he's going up against, but he's the first one to step onto the bridge and try to make an impression on this guy. So to begin the round, you draw your hand. In a simulator, you do that by hovering over the deck and putting a number for the number of cards you're going to draw. The Fjordman has a 7-card hand. The Norseman gets an 8-card hand because he's a particularly effective fighter. The first time you draw, you're allowed to mulligan and take one less card, only in the very first round of the whole campaign here. Sorry, the very first round for a fighter, not necessarily the whole campaign. If you're a new fighter in a new combat, you can potentially mulligan your first hand. After the first round, a round is a whole hand of cards. After the first round, you can't mulligan anymore. So I drew an 8-card hand, and I like it, so I'm going to keep it. Thomas also drew a 7-card hand. He hasn't told me yet if he wants to keep it.
I'm planning on keeping it. Yep.
Yep. The other thing we have in front of us are these 3 gold cards, and we all get the same ones here. This is our movement tactics. On the first impulse of every round, the first card play of each hand of cards, we get to pick our footwork, basically, to get closer to the opponent, stand our ground, or get farther away from the opponent. So those also can go into our hand. So I'm going to draw these 3 here. And each of them explains what effect it has if the other person did the corresponding footwork. Like if we both close, it's going to be easier to hit each other, and then we're going to be at very close body contact distance. If one of us stand grounds, the other closes, we'll get close to each other, etc. So on the first impulse, we're picking a movement tactic, which we put out here face down. And then we're also picking a first combat action card. That's our first action. So I just put out a green and a gold. The gold is my footwork and the green is my action. Thomas, my opponent, is going to do the same thing, and we'll reveal them both at the same time. I should mention one other thing. Right now, because I have the longer weapon, I have this initiative card in my hand. This means that if we both attack, my attack is resolved first. And if I manage to hit him with my attack, he loses his attack. That only applies if we're both attacking, and who has the initiative can change with the footwork and other defenses and such. It can change over the course of the fight. But right now, because we're at long reach from each other, and I am the initiative state is the longest weapon, and I have the longest weapon. I've got the initiative. So whenever you're ready, Thomas.
Yes, I am just working my mechanics here since I don't know how to move things around quickly. So, yeah, I'll start flipping.
Right. So we just flip over. We reveal simultaneously.
Oops.
I've got a keep distance and a ferocious blow, and he's got also a keep distance. So we're both backing away from each other, and he has a shield parry. So us both doing keep distance says that there's -1 to hit, and then we'll also be out of reach at the end of the impulse. That if he shield parries successfully, that could change that, but we'll come to that in a second. But it also means I have -1 to hit him. I'm attacking, that's my red card. He's defending, that's his blue card. So the attack has to be resolved. My ferocious blow says +2 to hit. My heroic fighter says +3 to hit. So I've got +5 from those. My battle axe is a hard weapon to use though, because -1. So I've got +4 from all those. And over on his side, he's got the shield parry says -2. He's also got, he's a warrior. That's his class card over here, which gives him -1 extra on all his active defenses. And his medium shield also says -1 for shield parry. So he's got 4 from all those things.
Also, padded gambeson, you're doing a ferocious blow, correct?
Yep, you get -1 to hit from padded gambeson. We look at his armor and we index the kind of attack I'm doing with what it says. It says -1 to hit, no effect on damage from his padded armor. So he gets an extra -1 from that and an extra -1 from us both keeping distance. So add them all up, he's got a total of -2 in his favor, +4 against -6. So you normally need an 11 to hit on 2 dice added together. So I need a 13 now because he's in pretty good defending here. So I used the rolled die thing here, and I rolled a 11. So I just missed him by 2, that is. I also see that my red die is 7. My ferocious blow says +1 to red die, so I look at red 8, and I could compare that to my battle axe. Red 8 says WB. So although I missed him, that means I don't do regular damage. The fact that I got a red die result means that I can do glancing damage to him from the W, that's the wound, and also can potentially knock him around, knockback kind of thing, with the bash. So for the W, I would only do my red damage, which is red damage to the battle axe is 3. His armor doesn't reduce that by anything, though. So he takes 1 fatigue and 2 body. As long as you have fatigue left, you can take the first of them as fatigue. So
that takes me down to 3 fatigue and 6 body.
Yep. But in addition, because you took 2 body on a W hit, you do have to draw a wound card from this red deck here on the left. And
sorry, I'm moving my stuff around.
Yep.
Yep. And then the wound card, which is...
You gotta draw it, just pull it off the top, or +1, that will work as well.
Yep. I just did the... Oop. Sorry, I put it in my hand instead.
Yeah, just put it out in the center of the map. What does it say?
It says bruised, wound condition 1, first blow does not apply.
Yeah, it just says SM and GB, so only smashes and great blows can inflict that kind of wound, so you can ignore that one. So you can put that back on the deck. You're gonna have to flip it and rotate it. I'll do it for you.
Oh, thanks.
Just more used to the interface than he is. And then you also had to draw a bash card.
Oh, yes, doing it now. Right click and select. I'll just do this. Oh, there we go. And then let me flip it. And it's off balance, bash condition 1. Ferocious blow also does not apply.
Yeah, and that one only says that you would have to X action must be pause, which wouldn't do much in this situation. But this one it also didn't apply because it didn't have the wound type listed. The type of attack I did, so it would have to have not the wound type, the type of attack I did. It would have to match the attack type with the card. So he gets to ignore both of those. The other thing though is because he did a shield parry and I didn't actually hit him. I know it sounds like I did because I did damage, but that was not actually a hit. I needed a 13 plus to hit. It says here on his card, distance short, initiative shortest. So the fact that he made me miss him with the shield parry that does not fully connect with him means that instead of our movement tactics determining the distance between us, his active defense overrode that. So what happens is over here on the right, we see that we go to short distance. I'm sorry, this was a flip this over. Distance is short. All attacks and active defenses are normal. Initiative defaults to shortest weapon. And shortest weapon, that's going to rotate this around. And because he has the shorter weapon than me, he now has the initiative card. So that means we both attack. Now his attack would revolve first instead of mine.
Hey,
so
one quick thing. Can we just double shuffle the wound and bash cards since they both came up as one? Not sure that it was.
Yeah, they were already shuffled. But
okay,
fair point. Yeah, good call. So we're now on the second impulse of the round, and we're not going to pick a movement tactic this time. We're just going to pick one of our actions. And
are we out of measure this time?
No, because
of the shield. Yeah.
Yes, the shield parry overrides. So what Thomas is thinking is normally if both people keep distance, that will make you move out of measure. So the next blow you can only pause before you get back into reach one another. But that didn't happen because his shield parry, any active defense that causes a miss, overrides the footwork tactic. So he got into closer range under his shield. That's what that means. All right. So are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm flipping now.
Okay. So he's got a thrust and I've got an artful dodge. So now we're the other way around. He's attacking, I'm defending. So his thrust card says -1 on it. Javelin and prowess don't give him anything. He's got a total of -1. I'm in chainmail armor, which is -2 against his thrust. So he's got, that's already at 3. I get 2 more for my dodge, 4, 5, 6, 7 for my prowess. So he's got a total of -7. Means he needs an 18 to hit me quite hard. That's like only 6% chance. But again, with his +1 for the thrust on red die, he could still potentially do a bash to me on a 9 or 10 on the red die.
To actually make the dice roll, I've highlighted them. Do I just click it?
You have to highlight them both. So I just group select them both and then use the roll menu. Roll from the menu.
The roll menu.
The menu.
Right click.
There it is. It's at the top. I see it.
Yeah. Okay, so you got a 7. That's a miss. The red die was also 4. That's not enough to give me a special thing on my artful dodge, but it does mean the initiative goes back to longest weapon. So the effect of a successful dodge is like a successful shield parry to make the distance get closer. A successful dodge to make the distance get longer. So initiative has gone back to me. Okay, I'm going to do this.
Interface problems. 1 second.
Sure. And notice as we played our cards, we're moving over here to the right to our discard pile. We'll keep drawing from our decks until we're including over multiple rounds until it's gone, and then we'll shuffle those back in like an endless deck, like a Dominion. Are you ready?
Yep. I'm just trying to get my right click working so I can flip it or get ready to flip. I'm ready if you are.
I am. I have a ferocious blow.
I have shield parry.
All right. So this time it's not quite the same as before because we're not both backing away from each other, but otherwise it's the same as what we had in the first impulse. So now I need a 12.
12. Yep.
And this time I got a 15 with a red 6. The red 6 becomes red 7, which is normal. Actually, no. Red 7 is W.
Yep.
Red 7 is W. Yep. So with my ferocious blow, I got a W. So W means that I'm allowed to do my normal damage plus my red damage. Normal damage because I did get a hit this time. So I'm doing, that's 13.
Ouch.
And against ferocious blow, his Gambeson doesn't do anything of that. So he would take 1 fatigue and 12 body, and he's only got 6 left.
He is so completely. Not only is he incapacitated, but he is
actually dead.
He's actually dead. Yep.
Yeah, he's actually dead.
Not just
the other thing
mostly
what happened
dead.
there. Sorry.
Not just mostly dead.
Not just mostly dead, right? When the round is over, because he's defeated, when the round is over, I spend a fatigue. I discard the rest of my hand. The reason this matters is I'm fighting this guy, but I've got another fight coming, right? And in my second round, I have to face a new fighter. That's what makes this a campaign, is that I don't have to beat just one guy on the other side of the field. I have to beat a whole succession of them. But the first Fjordman is down. He managed to get one stab at me that had a very low chance of hitting. He managed to get through the